Well, the second of the short rubber connectors here has arrived. As you know, we stopped working on parts of this because one supplier sent this for that, and it's simply too big. And it's larger than the original, and it has a raised area inside, which simply doesn't allow these two pieces to go together firmly. This one from another supplier is an exact duplicate of the original and will fit and allow me to put this together. So at this point, what I want to do is I've got the two lines that go to the charcoal canister, which is hidden inside the behind the front fender. That's all neatly put away and fastened back in place. These two lines have run through, and now we have to connect them up. But there is one little mystery, which is that the original of this line had a large end on this part and a smaller end at the charcoal canister. And that small end won't fit on here. So we have to use an adapter to get this attached here. And it's actually very, very easy to do. It's what they recommend with this silicone hose kit. Now, the smaller hose coming out of the charcoal canister is a tight fit to get in there and get your fingers around it. So it's easier to remove the two hoses up above it, one which goes to the vacuum advance, etc. And that way you can push it on, because it is a good tight. Now, while I've got everything apart here and open and easy to just work on, I'm going to go ahead and replace these plug wires. I wasn't really having any problem with them, but you can see they're getting older, and it's not a bad time at this stage to put in a new set, and of course some new plugs. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and, well, we got everything open like this, and before I put in the rubber boot there, replace the spark plug wires. You know, it's running okay, but these are older, and just while I've got things open up and it's so simple to go ahead and do it, I'm going to do it now. I've pulled up the water overflow bottle for the radiator so I can get down to the distributor more easily. And I'm just going to do these one by one, following from the plug lead to the distributor, and just go in sequence. And then of course I've got one of them, which is the coil wire from the coil to the distributor. Here the wire's all laid out neatly, and you can see that they're very nicely labeled here, making this a pretty easy and fast job, well worth doing while I have everything apart. Now, while I'm at it, I'm going to replace the spark plug, so that's what I'm doing as I go along. I just use these NGK BPR 7ESs. They've been in the car and they seem to work well. They're very, very inexpensive, about $5 each. They need to be gapped when you put them in, and I believe that the workshop manual says to gap them somewhere between 0.024 to 0.027. I've gap them at 0.025 or 0.635 millimeters, and I think that should work pretty well. And so while I'm doing it, I might as well go ahead and put those new plugs in. They're very inexpensive, and the other ones didn't look too bad, but you know, why not? Okay, there we go with all the new plugs, new wiring all set in there. Very, very nice. Okay, so we've got the new boot on there. This is all fastened down. We've got that short connector there, everything in place and nice and tight. But we still have this situation, which coming out of the the charcoal canister behind the fender. Well, we've got a bit of tubing which fits the air canister, but the diameter is far too small to go onto here. I guess originally, apparently, they had different size ends on the on this vacuum hose, but we don't have that available. But the workaround is this: you use one of the A pieces here, which is big enough to fit on there, and then you basically shove this into here, and it forms an airtight seal. And that's the way people do this. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to cut this piece, the B piece, to fit, and we're going to have this piece here, an A piece, fit onto here, and then the B piece will go inside of here, and that'll give us an airtight seal. Okay, and there we go, and that should work to connect the air canister here to the air intake. Okay, so the next thing to do is we're going to replace the air filter here, and this is the one we're using. And you can see that the old one's pretty dirty. The top side of this has got a wire mesh on it, so we're going to want that to be up. And you can see this has got it in here as well. And that's going to fit in this air filter box here, which also then has a very important item here. It has basically an airflow sensor. That's sensing how much air is being drawn in from the air filter box into the air inflow, and then eventually into the combustion chambers. That is really important. Hooks up here as part of the electronic controls for the Bosch ignition system, or rather the Bosch fuel system. Now, inside there is a little gate here that moves. It has a bit of resistance on it. It's an airflow sensor. And if that gate is stuck and is not working properly, you will not have a smooth running car, because it's not sensing how much air is being drawn in, and then it's not adjusting the fuel flow rates appropriately. If there's anything wrong with the electronics here and it's not sensing that, similarly, things are not going to run very well. Now, we're hoping that things are going to run really nicely. Now we've got the new vacuum hoses and everything in, hoping that there's nothing that's an issue up here with any of the airflow sensors throughout the system. But this one's really critical. This one's moving nicely. It looks like everything's good in there. Of course, we could, do electrical tests to see how this is being registered. But we're going to assume or hope that everything goes well. And then this is, of course, the pipe that connects that to the air inflow to the combustion chambers. It is in good shape, so we're not going to replace that. You can get them. They're rather expensive, though. So we're going to put the air filter in. We're going to hook this up. We're going to run the electrics through it, and we're going to, hopefully this thing is going to now run nicely. Okay, these little clips here go under the lip, and you tighten them up, and they hold that really firmly against there. And then you can't forget to put this in place. It's got a wire snap that holds it, and it's got to be on there pretty firmly. And that should then be recording information from the airflow gate in there. And then, of course, the last thing we have to do is hook up the rubber boot between these two sections. Well, the whole thing put together, and it's running. We have to take it out on the road, but so far so good. We'll see what it runs like on the road. That we've got good vacuum on all those things, and we've got smooth acceleration. But anyway, at least it is running at this point. Very nicely. I think we've got everything sorted out on this and squared away. It took me a bit longer because of other things, but very, very pleased to see it. It's worth it, and the car's running well.